and you should be good.
Okay, we'll put back up to the
Chat. There you go.
the chat.
And look at that.
Okay, watch
Green.
your toes. All
Green,
right.
green.
Thank you, boys. We'll see if anybody joins us here. Okay, there we are. Well, Frogs joined us when Robert got here, so there we go. A little better in here. All right, there we are, and we're back. So, back out of that. They have me hardwired in, so obviously there's a problem somewhere. So, 104 degrees. So I was off 1 degree, saying it was 105 out. Well, in there it was probably hotter. And now we lost the rumble of Ron's diesel out there, even though I can still hear it through here. So, but there you go. So as we were talking, the passing of Clay Wurst, we're looking at doing something Monday for that. So Chasing Legends will probably be something geared towards Clay Wurst. We're thinking of using the unedited interview we did with him for Sunsets. So if you do have Sunsets, you'll get to see it. What you probably have already seen with probably me talking to Clay. And if you don't have Sunsets, you'll get to see the interview we did with Clay at his home. Well, it's, yeah, I don't know what it is. It has something to do with, like I said, the internet with this computer, because the phone had internet, the laptop here did. I almost went on the laptop. The computer behind me did. So it's this computer, and the problem we have, not to keep going on this, but the bigger problem is this computer, most of the time I'm working offline, so I don't notice it during the week. It's not a thing that it just catches me. So since I work offline here with most everything I do, yeah, it is just what it is. Okay. All right. Yeah, no, that's a whole different interview. That was an interview for Legends. That was in 2014. I don't have that. That's History Channel. We actually have interviews with the History Channel stuff. We sat there the one day. It was Clay and I. We talked for 2 hours or so. You only get maybe 5-10 minutes of that. And then we came back, and then we just came, the day we came back, we just had lunch with Clay. We didn't do anything really else there. He went out under the tree on the north side of the house, and he sat in a chair under the tree, because that's where he wanted to sit. He wanted to be outside that day. And then he talked for 2 or 3 hours, and they have that footage. And then there was, we did a third time with him, George Johnson, Jack Sanfelice. I can't remember who the fourth guy was. It was supposed to be Tom Collenborn, and Tom didn't show up. Tom had reasons he didn't want to be there. Hey, there's Sky Cloud from Gil Gold Prospecting, San Antonio, Texans, where every day is a golden day. There you go. He went out prospecting. Now he's back home. He'll be here for about 5-10 minutes, and then he'll go off to eat. There you go. Sky Cloud, but glad you could join us. We were talking about the passing of Clay Wurst. So the third time they did some more interview with him, and they did some with the other two guys. I thought there was 4. And I'm trying to remember who the fourth person might have been on that. I'm going to have to go watch the show to see who was that fourth person. Because I know it was supposed to be 4 people, and we did. I'm pretty sure we had 4 people. But Tom was supposed to be the fourth person, and George replaced him. So, and I know Clay and Jack were a part of it. Anyways, so that was the last time for that, for Legends. Hey Wayne, I've been wondering about Mr. Clay was Ray Das, thanks. Yeah, and I kind of let this stuff with Clay go a bit. Like I said, I just kind of like on the post his caregiver said, because there's a lot to deal with. His daughter has a lot to deal with, and everyone who was his friend and so forth. So I figured, wait, see what we got this weekend. But there were those History Channel interviews. Then there were the interviews with Unexplained, Unexplored, which they did a lot of interviews with him. And then there were the interviews with, there was another series of interviews, because that would have been about 2016, 2017. I don't think Beyond Oak Island, I don't know if they got a chance to work with him. He might have been sick or something going on. Then there's the rendezvous. The rendezvous footage that you see, there's even more of that stuff. I have him talking about the when he was up on Weaver's Needle and the guy was shooting up at them when they were doing the rescue. I have that. I don't think we've ever aired that. I have a bunch of stuff from, like, I don't know, 2005, 2006 with him that I've never released. But this was the stuff that Trevor filmed for Sunsets, was just a few years ago. And that was, we were at Clay's house and he talked, and Trevor filmed them that day. And yeah, that's the stuff that was the most recent stuff. Easiest stuff to find too, because the other stuff, I know there's a ton of stuff that's on mini DV and stuff of Clay and stuff that's on DVD that I transferred, and we're gonna have to dig it all out, and we'll do it occasionally. We'll get it all out there. Sometimes some of the stuff I wouldn't release because I figured Clay wouldn't care, and he's not on the internet, so he really wouldn't care. But I thought, he's around to speak his own words, so I'm not gonna. It's not anything special for him, like Sunsets was, or doing a TV show. So that stuff was just kind of put to the side. But now we'll kind of the nod and do that. Choo 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 choo. The campfire one where he talks about Jake's mind. Yeah, that was a good one. Damn, not many. And that was just, the Honey Amber, that's a lemon burst. It's actually, that is 59 sunburst bleached, believe it or not. It's the Peter Green 59 lemon burst. So it has if you look at it, the pickups backwards on the neck pickup. But that's what that is. And of course, it is today in its present state, under its present owner. It's faded almost yellow, so that's why it's that yellow. You can see it's a little bit of reddish on the edges, and has the mismatched knobs and stuff on it. But that's what that is. That is a 59 Les Paul tribute guitar, and it has the case and everything. So really nice guitar, heavy guitar. That's the heaviest Les Paul I have. That thing is like picking up a brick. That is a heavy guitar. Haven't seen you in a while. Well, you see me now. And anything he talked about, stop to listen. Didn't Clay know Herman protect her? Clay said he met Herman one time and shook his hand. He said that was a moment he'd always remember because he shook the hand of a man who had met the Dutchman. I don't always know if Herman really met Waltz or not. We know Reinhardt did, but he met Herman, he'd shake his hand, and that was really the only time he really got to meet him and talk to him. I don't know who he was with. I'm sure he said, and I just don't remember, but he'd always say, yes, I got to shake the hand of a man who met the Dutchman. And so that was his only meeting of Herman. Because Clay's main time in the mountains, I mean, he spent time in other places in the mountains, but his main area was Peters Canyon, Peters Mesa, Labarge Squaw, those areas, Charlie Boy. He had principal areas that he focused on more. And because we were talking one night, and I asked him about Bluff Springs, some stuff about Bluff Springs, because I knew he knew Al Reeser pretty well and a few other guys, and so I asked him, and he was like, wasn't as familiar with the area as I was, and he said just that wasn't his area and this and that. So, but I know with John Reed, he did that, and then he did the Salazar survey and other stuff, and I have somewhere I don't think it's on the stuff we did with Sunsets, but I have somewhere. I have a whole bunch of stuff of me and him talking about. So, but see, you got to remember, we filmed particularly for certain things, TV shows and stuff. And there was a lot of times I just went to Clay's and we just talked. I never, Greg Davis would hate me. I never recorded those and stuff. So, let me see. Larry Hedrick, Hank Sheffer, Charlie LeSueur, maybe. What do you mean, Josh? Because Larry knew Clay because they were founders of the museum. I'm sure Hank had met Clay. Charlie might have. I think he might have interviewed. I don't know. Charlie just did it, but Charlie's been dead a long time. Hank has. I mean, they're not Dutch hunters. So, Josh, remember that. Those three names you put there are not really Dutch hunters and part of that group. So, there's a separation there. There's the group of people that are, and it's always a tricky spot. There's the people that sit around and play the storyteller for the tourists, and that's kind of where a Charlie, a Hank, and those guys fall in. I don't think Larry even did much of that. And then now Larry is, because everybody else is dead, Larry, who spent a limited amount of time in the mountains and, knew Tom, is kind of like, but it's not, it's, I'm not going to get into it deep. We might do a video on all that mess sometime, but yeah, that channel is just Charlie's way of, he wanted to do something with David Jones. And this is probably a year or two after we'd been on TV and done on YouTube and stuff. And he started something he wanted to do differently. And he did it different. If you watch the very first episodes, it was some stuff. And then it kind of got kind of weird. And then they tried to go out in the field and they almost died. And then they quit doing that because that's not who they are. They're not those guys. And it was stuff we all knew about. And it was just... So it kind of morphed, but then Charlie passed away. Charlie and I had talked about doing something together because I thought it would be fun. We could watch out for them too. If Charlie, say, we knew Jack really well. If Jack and Charlie came out to do something next to me and Frank, we could kind of keep an eye on them, make sure everything was okay and nobody got hurt. Because the one time they went out, shit, one of them almost died. The other one had a stroke. And so we figured... we'll keep an eye on you guys, and then we can do something. If you filming us filming you, be a neat thing. Charlie liked the idea. We talked about it in the Apache Land barn. But those guys I only saw really at the museum type of thing. I don't know if I ever saw Hank ever at the Treasure Hunt of the Year Awards or the Rendezvous. Certainly didn't see Charlie. And Larry would come out by invite. Jack, of course, does. But, I don't know. It's just kind of, we kind of, it's different thing. And if you are a Dutch hunter, you understand it. And Larry will tell you, I'm not a Dutch hunter, which is why he's kind of not part of that. So, hi Wayne, just stop by. Stop by what? I don't know. Okay, we were on that too long though. But yeah, I don't even know what the question was. Or maybe I'll catch it again. Smiling in the post streams in Prime. My mom got me the guitar from the Marlboro. One of those Marlboro. Yeah, I remember that. I got the tent and a backpack. I still think I have the backpack. Backpack was really cool. Tent was okay. The backpack was really sturdy. I think I have both. I think they're up in the attic, so they're probably dry rotted. Oh, I was just suggesting names of who that mystery person you were trying to remember being there was. No, Charlie LeSueur and Hank, no way. George Johnson was only there because Tom said no. That was the whole reason he wasn't there. I'll watch it, and I'll if I can't figure it out. Me and DeLille, I don't know if Frank was there. All of us weren't there for that. It was on Clay's patio, and they had their backs to the mountain, and we were sitting on the patio by the back door of the house. And I know it was George on the end. And here's how I remember. See, this is a weird thing, but Jack Sanfelice was there, and Clay and George. And George was on the end, and he had fallen just before we got there and fell on his arm on his elbow. And I'm sitting there, we're talking, and Clay keeps looking over at George. And I'm looking at George, and his elbow is swelling, and it was big as a softball. And we're looking at it, it's like, holy crap. And I don't know if you can see, I'll have to watch it, see if you can tell on the thing that as it gets bigger. But it got so huge, we were like, hey, we need to get you to the doctor and have someone look at that elbow and drain it or whatever. Something's going on there. George was like, nah. And George had to be 95, 96 at the time. But yeah, but Jack Sanfelice was there, so I know it was Jack. And you'd think it was someone else who was in the show. I don't think it was Shoes. Could have been Shoes. Whoever was on the far left side. And it might have just been the three of them because Tom canceled. I don't know. I thought George stepped in because Tom canceled. Because, yeah. So, but no, it wasn't any of those guys, Josh, because they were not even thought of in any way. They were no part of anything to do with the show. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Larry, I don't remember Larry around at all. Hank played I don't know when he did, if he did. You're talking about the Dons. There was a bunch of people that played Jacob Waltz. There's rednecks up there in the Appalachian Mountains. They're crazy of them. Just stopped by your channel. Howdy. Hey, Kim. Glad to see you're alive. Saw that Chris was out camping with the girls. Want to start an annual hike dedicated to some Clay and Tom's favorite locations. I don't know if we can get there, man. Because those guys... Tom was always a horseback guy. We could think of something like that. I think there could be... Yeah, because Tom was the big one he was known for, was going to Superstition, the Peak. The Fly the Flag, and then Clay liked Peter's Mesa. Those are some big ass hikes, their favorite places and stuff. So I don't know, that requires some serious thought. I mean, we can do something. I don't know. That's tough. It's a nice idea. It's just more a small group of people trying that stuff. I hope the knees are doing you good. Yes, they do. I don't know, we're having a sidebar there. I think we're just a different breed. Those guys did things for everything. Got a dream. The Marlboro jacket. I have a Marlboro jacket. The Marlboro jacket is the dirt bike jacket. I have that actually in the back of my truck because I use it as like a windbreaker rain poncho. And it has the hood and stuff. But I have that in the back of my truck. I actually do. So I had that. I had the deck of cards too. What about those... mines the government are getting ready to out in the air? Are they close to your area? No, there's nothing close to my area they're messing with. Tom was the Marlboro man. I think he smoked at one time. It had been a long time before that, though. I never knew Tom when he smoked. I never saw him smoke a cigarette. I watched an episode about Canyon Diablo. Looks like a good place for Frank to metal detect. Yeah, we got our spots this year. We got a lot going on. So the heat kind of kicked us out for a while. So we can't talk about it because we got too much going on and stuff. But we are filming. But until we're done filming what we want, Trevor was trying to see how much we have filmed that we could release because we like to do it in episodes of 12. And he realized he only had 5 or 6. So now everything has to wait till we're done with what we're doing currently. So it'll be a while, but there will be more out in the field stuff. So there you go. And unless we are able to put some other things together and do that and then go on to this next thing that we're doing. So, but yeah, we've been out with Frank 2 or 3 times. So this summer, spring, summer, and got him back out, but then summer came. So we're planning on, if there's a couple nicer days early in the morning, kind of do that and kind of romp around, but it's just, there's a limitation to what you want to do in the summer and the heat and everything. And they're really starting to crack down and tell people not to hike and close down parks and areas because of that and turn people back, which is a good thing because people keep dying. Perfectly healthy people that go out and hike trails and work out and do stuff are dying. I mean, so if you're not a regular at that, so it's different. And you will notice that you didn't see Tom and Clay and all these guys out in the mountains a ton because they get older and they realize it's not really going to work for them and they don't want to die going in the mountains. They made it through all this time in the mountains. Why kill yourself off now? So that was that. So I get that. That's why I kind of slowed down my summer stuff. So if I'm out there, I don't talk about it. And if you see it, you kind of... I think in some videos you can tell I was out there late or in the summer. And I did film when I was out there in July. But I don't film the end of it or how bad things get. You just realize how hot and the conditioning. But the condition I was in... I was probably in my mid-50s when I did that, and I realized, man, am I, definitely sending the wrong message to people. Because someone's going to see me and say, oh, well, Wayne did it, I can do it, and they're going to go out, and then they're going to come in and be sick for a day or two and say, well, yeah, it's not that bad, and then they're going to go out, and then they're going to die. And that was something Judy Backus warned me about. She said, don't go get someone killed out there because of what you do, because they will follow and think they can do what you can do, and it's kind of different. People are different, people are built different and so forth. Hurricane screwed up my hiking trips in the North Carolina mountains. Yeah, it does that. The monsoons out here make it very humid, but it cools it off a little and puts some water in the mountains, but it's just the heat. The heat is just tough and hard and unforgiving anymore. So there's not much you can do about it. And that's that. Now everybody remembers the November 14th, 15th, 16th is the rendezvous. We are looking to have, and I'm not announcing anything yet, but we're looking to have guest speakers, presenters, demonstrators through the day. So I'd like to start around 10, 11 o'clock, and every 30, 45 minutes have someone to do something. Woody Wampler is going to have a prospecting class. We're going to have the forestry service out, and they're going to do 3 separate talks probably again about ruins and Native American culture, about the geology in the Superstition Mountains and other things. So we'll probably have them as a presentation, and I'm trying to reach out. If anybody knows someone, don't go shooting for the clouds, but get people who are interested and come out and talk. I have a couple Dutch hunting people that have books or things coming out that want to talk. So we're going to try to stretch it and then have a break for dinner and then have our evening presentation. So I want to do that so everybody has something to do during the day, someone to listen to, something to watch, get a chance to go through that. That being said and done, so everybody kind of gets up on that, we're going to have a drink to old Bob Ward, who had his days. Oh, and who did I talk to this week? Which is, usually I have to mention that about everybody because of the whole thing concerning Clay. Once I got word, then it was kind of lighting up intermittently. It wasn't... I had a phone call from Jack Sanfelice today, but I think it was a butt dial because it rang half a ring and then it hung up. So I'm taking it Jack was probably trying to call Frank or something. And that was, because I didn't bother calling him back. So Jack, if you watch this, I didn't call you back. It's my bad. I might call you this weekend or sometime. But I talked to Frank, of course, in shoes. I talked to Ron. I talked to Jesse last week. And I talked to Steve Bowser. But there was a lot of people calling just kind of like, in the immediacy of like, you know when the services will be? I don't think Clay's cold yet. Can we wait a minute? Yeah, I don't know. I figure as soon as there's anything confirmed, we'll use our social media outlet to do something on YouTube, and then if it's open to the public, if it's something open to the public, we'll say, hey, there's going to be a celebration of life like in Goldfield Ghost Town, if there was. And then we'll say it's open to the public, they invite anybody who knew, blah, 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 and then that's what we'll do. And if it's a private thing, they're just wanting people, friends and family to be there and all, then it'll be different. So that is, what it is. City of Surprise Baseball. Trevor just came across an article about Trevor wearing a baseball uniform. Looks pretty young. So. Yeah, well, Trevor played ball in the City of Surprise till he was 17 or 18. No, 15. And he also worked with Major League Baseball with their youth filming program. He actually did an interview with the coach, Maddox. Madden, Joe Madden of the Cubs, the coach of the Cubs. I think it was the year after they won the World Series. Trevor did an interview with him and some of the Cubs and stuff. So Trevor was working with Major League Baseball then. That was where I thought he might go and the direction. And then actually one of the job prospects he had was working for the Diamondbacks. And he was looking into that, but this other job was closer to home and a better guaranteed job in the future. So he passed on the Diamondbacks, whatever they had. I don't know what he was going to be doing there. Film and video, could have been training, something like that. But I remember that was one of his prospects he was talking about, which I thought was cool. If he works his way up in the organization, we'll have free tickets for baseball and stuff. That'll be his team, if that's where his job lands. But no, he played, and then he just ran into the wrong coach, and that coach was a POS, and he ran the entire program into the ground, buried it, and guy was a jackass, and he did not, I even talked to him and told him, you're looking for sponsorship and different things. And I said, I can talk to A&E and History Channel and see if I can get you a banner or something and get them, something, because we're actively been doing the show and some other things. And I said, I can reach out, see if I can get something, because they were looking for funding and stuff for equipment. And he kind of just blew me off. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. So, yeah, but he was a jerk. So you try to help some people, and some people are getting their own way and are morons. So he didn't last very long. He destroyed the program, and then they got a guy in and it's rebuilt. But yeah, but Trevor was a catcher, so if you catch anything about Trevor's playing days, and History Channel wanted to film him while he was playing. I don't know where I was going. Oh yeah, History Channel wanted to come in and film because I was coaching at the time, so they wanted to film, and I was like, that's a nightmare, because you're going to have to get all the permission for the parents, and then the City of Surprise, and so do you really want to show the kids' faces, even though all the kids were like 15, 16, or 13, 14, they were older kids, but I said, that's a lot of hassle and stuff, because we took a break, and I had to come back because we were going and then Trevor was on the all-star squad for the next tournament, and when Trevor was playing the tournament, they wanted to come in again and film, and I was like, no, let the kids play baseball and have their fun. Some of the parents were a little disappointed, because they're like, oh, you're filming for TV and stuff and all, and I'm like, yeah, but I said, and I don't know how the word got out. The word got out, and people knew, and I was like, no, just, let the kids play baseball. It's hard enough at their age, and taking it serious and working hard and keeping everything in there. Is Woody still prospecting? Absolutely, yes. Did Alice Cooper coach? I'm sure he did, for Dash or one of the kids, Calico. I'm sure he did. Isn't that part of being a dad? You coach. I coached T-ball, coach pitch, minors, majors, Babe Ruth, coached a lot of baseball. And I coached at one time, I was coaching 3 teams. I was coaching a team for T-ball, a team for coach pitch, and then a team for minors. And I got to the point where Sarah went to softball, which eased up because I don't coach softball. And then Tyler quit playing, and then that made it easier for me because, at one point it was literally just one practice after another, one game after another. I would go from one game to the next game. The city did a really nice job. Jason Bond did a great job of always juggling the schedule to make sure I could coach multiple different levels, different places with the kids. So I had, 30 some odd teams. I got pictures of all of them somewhere. I used to keep them up there by where the clock is. Maybe I'll put that back up someday. But that whole wall was just covered all the way down in just, the 8x10s of the team photos and all that. I don't know. I don't have any. Yeah. This room used to have a lot of memorabilia up in it too. A lot of Cubs memorabilia and a bunch of stuff. And when we changed it over the last time, I took most of it down and started hanging the guitars and kind of moving, changing the style. So there. Yes, Arcadia, he had a little league team there. So there's someone who's guaranteeing that and saying that is it. I'm sure he did because he has a son. He has 2 daughters. He has a son. The one daughter, one's about Trevor's age, I'm pretty sure, because the 2 of them, we got a picture of me and Alice and the kids together. And she's wearing like a Cookie Monster shirt. Trevor was a little younger than her. So I don't think it's Calico, because I think Calico's a lot older than Trevor. I don't know. I'd have to look at it and kind of look at the year and how old Trevor is. But, yeah. My buddy painted Alice's house. He drank at my mom's bar. I think Alice, everybody has to have an Alice story if they grew up in Phoenix. When I was in high school, I went to Apollo. Alice went to Cortez, but all the Cortez teachers, including Coach Emmett Smith, went to Apollo. I ran cross country for Emmett Smith and had him as an English teacher. And Alice would come by the high school and visit Coach Smith. And we would be in class, and Alice would come in, and then he'd go up in the front of the class and sit there and talk. There was a couple times he came out when we were running, but this is during his blackout period too. He was going through a lot and everything. He didn't look good. This is 79, 80, 81, 82. Yeah, he was in really bad shape during that period. Wayne, if you were in traffic coming home from work and looked over and saw Clay in the passenger seat of a truck driven by Crazy Jake, well, I wouldn't see that. That would be weird. I don't know if you could pick out Jake. Jake's been dead for so long. And Clay is dead. I'm pretty sure Jake died. I know everybody likes to tell the story, but Jake was... The weird part about Jake's story is I think he was taken out to Wickenburg, cremated, and then brought back over, actually right here by surprise, and supposedly put in a thing here. It's kind of weird. So there's a lot of weirdness with the Jake stuff. But then Jake it was always weird and a mess and hard to explain. So I'm not going to sit there and act like, yeah. It wasn't a weird thing. Everybody's making up too much, but there's the supposed phone calls from the beyond and all that. So, Cochise. Coach Cochise. I don't know what you're talking about. Are you sure Jake's dead? Yes, I'm pretty sure Jake's dead. I mean, God, how old was he when he supposedly, if you want to say he supposedly died, it had to be, that was almost 40 years ago. So, 30 years ago, and he had to be close to 70. So I don't think he would have made it. And I don't think he had any money, because they took all his money, all his property, so he didn't have anything anymore. So he got out. I think he was running his last cons. He's living in the stable at Ron Feldman's place. Jesse takes care of him, brings him out meals. Yeah, let's start that rumor. Crazy Jake's alive. He sleeps in the back of the stables, back by the bathroom. There's a little shed room. He sleeps in there. And let Jesse deal with everybody showing up wanting to know where Crazy Jake is. Ron always said, I learned so much from Crazy Jake. I learned what to do and what not to do. So, which is true. I'm sure with someone like that, you do learn what to do and what not to do. But I'm pretty sure that he was dead. Because I asked somebody, said he could have he pulled that off, and he said it would have been difficult because he didn't have anything left. He was pretty much just not living the best anymore. So because of that, even if he tried to hide, they got so much back out of him and got everything there. Wonder if Crazy Jake was responsible for Al Morrow's death. I kind of think, I don't know if he was responsible, but he was there when something happened, and that seemed to be Jake's thing. Is Helen Burns, he just happened to be there. Al Morrow, it's obvious he just happened to be there. I think that is kind of telling that he just happened to be around during those instances. We will never know. We can speculate how he got Al's map out of his pocket after a boulder crushed him. We can speculate how Helen was shot in the head twice by the one shot from a rifle. That Jake and his girlfriend or wife, I don't know which one she was at the time, were just trying to help her pack up and move. I don't know. That's the problem when you're a person like that, is even if you mean well, then it doesn't come off well because of all that. Hey, Dallas is in. Hello from Texas. I really enjoy your stories. Keep on going. Well, there you go. Everyone else around the house asked me to shut up. Stop talking. Why you gotta keep talking about it? Make sure everybody remembers I'm turning sideways away from the camera all the time. But the Josh Feldman show is back on the air. I'm running weekly right now for its. They filmed 2 seasons, so I think it's just a season A, season B thing. But they 2 short seasons, and this one is picks up and has Josh Feldman on the Josh Feldman show. That for some reason they can't get it right. They keep calling it Blind Frog Ranch, which was it was a living, breathing Grim Reaper. But yeah, that's support Josh if nothing else. I think they're only getting about 170, 200,000 viewers. It's just one of them shows that there is enough of the. Obviously, Warner Brothers Discovery likes it, and they feel it fills a hole. There's obviously it's cheap enough to do for them, and let me tell you, I think the editor is 8 years old, because their editing sucks. I think I'm not an editor in film. I think I could edit it better. That is like the worst editing job I've ever seen. But yeah, for Josh's sake, maybe he can get another paycheck out of it. So I'm hoping they'll go another season. But it's becoming a hard show to follow. I wish maybe that's what I'll have to do is around the rendezvous or sometime. I got to meet with Josh, and we're gonna have to. If it's over, it's over. So he won't have a problem maybe, but have him explain the jumps in this show, because there are things I can't follow. It's like, I mean, when you look at the leaps and bounds they make from one thing to the other, it's just, it's hard. I know for a fact, this is sprung, the random Spanish cross he carved in the pit he found. No, it was a chimney. His responsible came back. Yeah, well, that was the story I've told 100 times. Yes, and Clay's told it, and it wasn't a pit. It was in a chimney rock area up by Peters Mesa, and he picked that out. He told that. I actually have that on video of Clay telling that story, and I've told that story a bunch of times. Someone told me that story, and then I went over and sat down with Clay because nobody was sitting with Clay. And then Clay told me a completely different version of that story. And then I told him, well, your friend over here just told me this other version. And Clay thought it was hilarious that his friend had just BS'd his way through it, which we won't use his friend's name because it was his friend. If it's no longer spoken, if it's no longer spoken, verbal says, well, we tell plenty of everybody's stories. Your Peralta book story you talked about, the Peralta story about the first settlers in Cali, a version of that. I don't know how much was on it. I'll have to, you know what, Dallas? I will pull out my copy of Gene Reynolds' book. I don't know how much he talks about what was in it. If you want to, I don't know how to look it up. Go to the old Feldman forum on the lostdutchman.net or whatever it's called. And if you go there, Gene talked there about it. He was on the forum with us, and he would talk about it. And it was in his book, Borrego 13. And I talked to him on the phone. So I don't know how much I remember that he spoke, he wrote, and then we had conversations with. I remember that he said there was like tintype old photograph. There was a few of those. But he didn't really read it. He was just breezing through it and kind of seeing what it was and thinking, this is really interesting, this old book on these Spanish mines. And it said Peralta on the cover. And remember, he was with McGill at the time doing the stuff in Borrego. And he was just getting onto the Dutchman stuff and the Adolf Ruth stuff. And he put the book back when, I think it's Eleanor, came downstairs. And so that's what I remember of it. He talked about it, but he said he just didn't think about it at the time, didn't have enough knowledge. And then later he realized, So I send it to you. I have a copy of it. Okay, you have a copy. Peralta story you talked about is the Peralta story about the. I don't know. I'd have to see it, and then compare it to what Gene wrote. And like I said, that's why it was always exciting, because of the Salazar survey and the tintypes from it and stuff. We knew that stuff could be used for something like that. And Gene didn't really read the book. So because of that, he just glossed over it, and I don't remember how much I've forgotten on it. But he did talk about it, and he wrote his book and mentioned it. And that became the intriguing thing. I don't know if Paul Shimmick's on here, but Paul would remember it too more clearly than I. But we both talked to Gene. Talked to Gene a number of times on the phone. That stone on the shelf, a key, is this big. Is that stone on the shelf behind you a key to the stone? That stone on the shelf. Are you talking about the pyramid? That's the pyramid from the staircase. I know there's more than one stone over there. I know there's a grinding stone. I think it's over to the left, over that way. So there's a grinding stone, and then there's the pyramid stone. I don't know if it's to the inner chamber. I just found it out there. When it comes to stories, you got to figure in a little BS for color commentary. You try to keep it clean, though. I'll send you a picture of the cover and the cover page. It has a lot of Peralta history, including the brands for cattle. I wonder if that could be it. That would solve a mystery and get people from chasing down that book. And again, I don't remember if he said it was in Spanish or English. I like the Blind Frog Ranch show. It doesn't surprise me, Joshua. That actually follows investigating every theory. Well, if any of it was real, even a single instance of anything they're doing, that would help the show. I was looking at the pyramid stone. Yeah, that's the pyramid stone from up at the spiral staircase. I found that sitting on the ground. Did not know there was a story of the pyramid stones found in the staircase. And then brought it home, and then read the story about it, and then I talked to a number of people about it, and then also talked and confirmed it with Alan Tree. That was one of the pyramid stones that they had found down in the staircase. Don't know how it just showed up laying out in the desert just by there. The problem was the Dutchman mine was not found till 1887. Not a Peralta mine. Well, okay, I don't know that, because it was not found till the 1887. That doesn't make any sense, because Waltz was nowhere near the mountains in 1887.
But okay. Um, don't understand that one. Been watching The Curse of Oak Island. Well, yeah, I gotta just fast forward through a lot of that because they do too much recapping. Hey, you got a Chasing Legend sign. Yes, David. David made that. Well, I don't have it lit up tonight. But yes, David made that sign. Handmade it. It's made out of from an old house in Mississippi, Louisiana. Sorry, David. Ooh, he gave me all the write up and stuff. But it's a house in Louisiana, old house. On the backside has the old paint and stuff on it. And he took it and then he made that sign for me. So, where Waltz was at one time. So, it's very, very cool sign. He gave that to me the last rendezvous. That was, yeah, probably one of the cool. Of course, the guy gave me an alligator head, so I mean that sign's pretty damn cool too. But the alligator head was kind of neat. The alligator's head's named Dave. New Mexico miners. There was Peraltas, and Peraltas like Smith or Jones. So there's Peraltas in New Mexico, and there's Peraltas in Arizona, Peraltas in California. There's Peraltas and Peraltos, and they're everywhere. I went to school with Peraltas, so. Do you have any of Andy Sinbad's on the notes on the spiral staircase? Very little of anything. Most of what I have is what other people wrote he said, and they tried to take credit. What I know of Andy was the people that knew him that he talked to. I know he talked to Shoes and wanted Shoes to check it out and stuff, and Andy got Shoes to go out and look at it. That's kind of where I get the outside information, but the other guys, some of the other people, I won't use their names, kind of minimized Andy's kind of role a bit, and I didn't realize how much they were trying to till Alan Tree actually told me he was really surprised that all the stuff there was still there that Andy had built and made and all, and he was verifying what I knew at one time, but then I changed my mind a little about because everybody was telling me different. So that was unfortunate, is everybody else wanted to take credit and kind of push Andy out, and he was probably losing his mind a bit, and they just decided to take over the whole idea. Yeah, okay. Oak Island's fine. Do you have anything Bob Ward have anything Bob Ward, not the books? What do you? I got a whiskey bottle. I found one of the whole whiskey bottles. We were out before they destroyed everything out there, Peralta County Park, regional park, and Frank was metal detecting because we went out there and metal detect a lot, and we were checking everything out, and I went and there was a spot where the rain had washed something away, and I'm digging away at, and then I looked over, and right to my right was a whole clean whiskey bottle, label, everything worn off of it, and I was like, wow, because he used to throw them out the window and then shoot them. So yes, I got that. I don't know what else. I got a couple maps he drew and stuff. But Rick Gwynn had a ton of Bob's stuff. I don't know where it went. I hope the family still has it and we'll get it back to someone in a collection. But he had sketchbooks, a bunch of sketchbooks and stuff of sketches and stuff. He had a bunch of Bob's stuff. And I don't know what happened to it. I know he lost some things, but he had other things. And do you ever have trouble with those guitars? The only problem I have is with the Telecaster. I can't hang the Telecaster. The Telecaster won't hang because it'll hang on the tuning pegs. But other than that, no. It seems to fit all the guitars I got. It fits. I got a PRS and Gibsons and Fenders, and it seems to fit every headstock except the only headstock it will not fit and sit properly on is that of the wrong way, is the Telecaster. That Telecaster headstock does not work on that. There you go. New computer, still fighting with it. I put them on my horse stalls. Nice. I can't get her up, and she. Okay. Marking up the finish? No. But they have padding. They're all padded and everything. And I mean, this one right here, I can see is real thick foam padding. So they all have foam padding on there, and I don't know. I've not. The only problem I'm having now is I got to take down the Chasing Legends sign to get the two guitars down now. So I have to take the sign carefully down, put it off to the side, and then take one of those two guitars down, and blah blah blah. But other than that, no, I've never nothing on the finish. Well, and you know, to be honest, I don't think I care if it chunks there anyway, because I don't play that part of the guitar. I can show you the backs of a few of these. I have no problem. If a guitar is a tool, which my guitars are generally tools, I'm not worried about look. I'm worried about playability. And if a guitar doesn't play that well, there's been a few that have gone bye-bye. So I don't just want a pretty guitar. I want a guitar that's a tool that serves a purpose and a use. So yeah, so the classical over there is banged up plenty. The Strat's got a lot of dings and stuff in it, and I think a couple of the guitars got dings and necks and stuff where they've fallen. But I'll have to show some of the buckle burns on some of the guitars sometime. But yeah, they get beat up. And I saw Stevie Ray Vaughan, and every guitar he took off, he either threw or he lay it on the floor of the stage and slide it across the stage or kick it with his foot. So I understood completely. It's a tool. If a musician has an instrument that he doesn't want messed with it in any way, he's not touring with it. He's leaving it at home and he's just using it when he has to use it. Like I said, I can't afford that. I can't afford to spend that kind of money on something I don't use. So they just, I don't even, when I'm sitting over here working with them, I don't even use stands. I just kind of lean them over. Sometimes they fall. Then I have to retune them. Sorry. That adds character to them. Have been reading about the saguaro cactus, have been dying rapidly, excessive heat. Have you noticed that? No, they turn colors, and they'll have health and lots of issues if it gets too wet too. When we get rainy season, I know there was a problem with them with the rains and other things. So it goes both ways. Sorry, the names plates. I just put them up at my stalls. Okay. So we're about ready to cut out of here because it's going to be dinner time here soon. Got the dinner, and I had a long morning, man. I had a hot day, lots of work, but I did take a shower for all of you. So I was hoping this would work even better than it did, and I think everything worked out. But yeah, I got a shower because you guys didn't need to see the stink through this. The microphone would have picked up the stink earlier. And I wanted to kind of like spare you of all that, because the summer crunchy hair stink is one of the worst ones, because you can smell a bit like a dead animal by the end of the day. And today I definitely put some time in, so I made sure I got a shower before I did this, so you don't have to look at me and think, wow, he looks a mess. So I don't look quite as bad, but I am tired. So, and I do want dinner and pick up groceries and get on to the weekend. So everybody have a great weekend. Like I said, check out for Monday. We should have something up. If you've seen Sunsets, you'll recognize it. I don't know how we'll edit it, but we want to show, rather, we're not going to show all of Sunsets, but we'll show you the Clay worst parts as a kind of a tribute to Clay. Maybe put a little something at the beginning about Clay. And do that for memory of Clay and all. And we'll see what all else comes about and around. And hopefully Trevor will have this thing fixed, because right now I got hard wiring going. I got cables running across the floor now. Dogs are going to be ripping stuff down and running off and carrying stuff out with them. There you go. So thank you everybody for joining us once again. We do appreciate it. Catch out the videos. We don't ask for cups of coffees. We don't ask for Patreon. We don't ask for anything just other than just check out the videos and stuff and hit the like buttons, hit the comment buttons or whatever. We're good with that. We don't need it. We're all good with everything. Have a great night, Wayne, everyone. Fresh homegrown green beans, those are always good. Homegrown tomatoes, squash onions, and side meat. That sounds actually good. Everybody head over to Tony's place. I didn't know about Clay. Yes, Clay passed away earlier this week in the morning, so somebody's sending me texts. But yes, Clay passed away. We talked about that earlier at length. We don't know any other. We're not sharing anything else or anything. He'd been sick for quite a while. We were contacted last week by his caregivers to do the last visits of Clay. Everybody kept it very quiet to make sure his friends and family could visit and spend time with him, and it wasn't just like a big parade of bullshit. And so Clay got to say his goodbyes, and his close friends got to visit with him. And Clay is no longer with us now, so thanks everybody. Everybody have a great weekend. I will play those guitars tonight. Where's the crazier Jake on it? What? I don't know. Okay, Cracker Jack. I don't know. Anyways, everyone have a great weekend. Everyone have a great night. Thank you for joining me on Chasing Legends. Hopefully next week we'll get back to the normal intro and everything, because Trevor's at least got this hardwired in, or we'll figure out. Maybe I'll be flipped around and I'll be on that side of the room and Trevor will be on this side, and we'll do role reverses, because I don't know. Who knows? Anyways, thank you everybody. Everybody have a great night. We will catch